This is just the beginning.
Being ignored by a woman or a romantic partner is never pleasant. Not to add, understanding how to react to a situation responsibly can be very confusing.
Well, if that makes me a villain, then so fucking be it.
Should you approach them or keep your distance? The good news is that it's not as difficult as it may appear to convince someone to quit ignoring you. We'll show you how to cope with someone who is ignoring you in this article so you can hopefully convince them to stop. Find out why they aren't paying any attention to you. In some circumstances, this may be rather evident. For instance, if you and your wife recently had a heated argument, you might understand why she's giving you the cold shoulder. If there are no issues between you and the person is ignoring you, think about whether you might have offended them in any way. For example, if you were talking negatively about a friend behind their back, anything you said might have been heard by them. Someone may have been offended by your actions if you neglected to inform them of your plans or didn't answer their calls or messages. You might not have done anything to merit being disregarded in some circumstances. It's generally best to just move on if the person ignoring you is a crush or a brand new romantic interest. Someone who will treat you better is what you deserve. Let them settle down. No matter the reason you're being ignored, pestering the person non-stop in the hopes of getting a response is the worst thing you can do. Don't bombard them with texts, make several calls, or keep pleading with them to pay attention to you. Give them some time to consider their feelings and whether they wish to contact you. Don't send multiple texts with the subject line, "Why are you ignoring me?" Instead, send one message or phone call, "Please talk to me," or "What did I do wrong?" Instead of encouraging the person to open up, these messages could irritate them. It can be challenging to resist the urge to start solving the issue right away. However, since you have no power over the other person, it's wise to give them some space. You might also include a sentimental message like, "I've tried reaching out a few times." Maybe you're going through something you don't want to talk to me about, or maybe you're just not feeling like connecting right now. Simply letting them know that we are here. Use your occupation, studies, or interests as a distraction. It can consume a lot of time and energy to figure out why someone is ignoring you or to obsess over the fact that they are ignoring you, and it can also be bad for your mental and physical health. But it won't help you and will just make you miserable. Carry on with your normal routine and activities. It's helpful to focus on your work or homework in order to avoid thinking about the issue. Do what you like to do in your spare time, whether it's coding, baking, fishing, carpentry, swimming, or playing football. Spend time with those that are interested in you. Even while it can be awful to be at odds with a significant other, chances are there are other people you enjoy being around. Invite your other friends and family members over for a hangout. Spend time together and work on strengthening your other relationships. Ensuring your emotional needs are satisfied is crucial, especially if you're having problems in a significant relationship. It may be beneficial to discuss the matter with someone you can trust and who you are confident won't let anyone else know about it. Consider your previous responses to being ignored. They might be attempting to get you to do it again if they've previously given you the silent treatment and you've replied by paying them plenty of attention to persuade them to talk to you. By lavishing them with attention in an effort to rekindle a relationship, you are teaching them that ignoring you will enable them to get their way, even though it's not a healthy approach to problem solving, but rather a manipulative one. Another reason to not be needy or beg for their attention is that they might be neglecting you in an effort to elicit a response from you. Send a message to set up a face-to-face encounter. If you care about the person ignoring you and want to end the disagreement, you must address the situation. Being able to see each other's faces and judge how sincere each other's words and actions are makes speaking in person preferable to texting or conversation on the phone. To schedule the meeting, you can dial, text, or even write a note. Say something along the lines of, "I know you're mad at me and I'd really like to talk things over. Can we get together for coffee on Saturday at 10? To prevent anyone from having the home field advantage, try to pick a neutral meeting location. Coffee shops are fantastic because you can be in a social setting without committing to a lengthy sit-down dinner like you would in a restaurant. The person can ignore your request or say no to meeting up. There isn't much else you can do in this situation. Inform them if you're going to speak with them about the problems later so that they may get in touch with you. Why are they ignoring you? Directly question them. It's time to start talking to the person now that you've persuaded them to do so. Even if you are reasonably certain of their reasons for ignoring you, ask them to explain it from their point of view. Perhaps all it takes to repair your relationship is an honest and open discussion. You might be shocked by the nature of your disagreement or the rationale behind their decision to ignore you. Pay close attention to what they have to say. Avoid defending yourself or formulating a counter-argument while they're speaking. This might be challenging, particularly if they accuse you of anything or believe you are at fault. But try your best to pay attention to what they're saying, interpret their messages, and consider things from their perspective. By maintaining eye contact and nodding when you comprehend or concur, you can use your body language to let them know you're paying attention. If you require further clarity, don't be hesitant to ask questions. To be sure you comprehend, you might also ask them to say what they said again. If you're at fault, say you're sorry. If you did something to annoy or injure the other person, own up to your mistake. Put your ego aside so you can own your errors and extend a heartfelt apology. Restoring your relationship can be greatly aided by validating their sentiments. Tell that you're sorry you weren't invited to a certain event. I see now that I offended you. I'll make sure to remember to include you later. Tell the story from your perspective. It's your turn to speak about how this conflict affected you when the other person has spoken their complaints and feels heard. Without criticizing them, express your viewpoint on the predicament. Don't forget to express your feelings when they disregard you and use I expressions to frame your sentences. For instance, you might remark, "When you refused to talk to me, I felt terribly unhappy and anxious. Our friendship is important to me, so I want to make things right." If you can, come up with a compromise or a solution together. You likely already know whether the relationship can be repaired at this time. Sometimes a simple apology will do. Others can require patience and commitment for your relationship to be repaired. To decide what will happen next, collaborate. To discover a solution that benefits both of you, you can compromise and offer each other options. It's simple to make promises, but more difficult to keep them. If trust is the problem, be sure you're willing to put in the effort to reestablish it in your relationship. Recognize that it's possible the relationship can't be saved. Someone is probably manipulating you if they ignore you in an effort to persuade you to do something they want, or not to do something they don't want. This is a red flag for a toxic relationship. If a friend or family member exhibits this kind of behavior frequently, especially after being confronted about it, you might be better off without them in your life. Similar to this, you can determine that moving on is in your best interest if you simply aren't that invested in the relationship. As you mature, some friendships and relationships deteriorate organically. It hurts, but it's also common. There are lots of lovely people out there for you to make friends with. What do you make of all the advice that has been given to you then? Please leave your comments in the comment box. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more. See you soon.